What's up, friends? Welcome in to Rock Chalk Sports here on your hump day. A beautiful fall day here in Lawrence with Dan Courtwright. I'm Sean Kellerman. Thanks for coming along. We always love our Wednesday show, Dan, because we get a very special guest from KUSports.com and the Lawrence Journal World in studio.
You're kidding.
I'll tell you about that here in a little bit.
All the way from California?
No.
He's coming
come
here.
From California. Nope, he's not.
You're kidding.
He is from California. He is. You got me.
Sure.
KU basketball talk here in the opening segment. We're breaking down that ESPN article of their preseason top 25, where the Jayhawks land, barely in at the top 25. Tell you about what they say about the Hawks and also the other Big 12 teams, other top-tier teams, according to the experts at ESPN. It was actually written by Jeff Borzello. So according to Jeff Borzello.
Is he an
expert? A little different than the AP Top 25 poll, which is a group of people, including the California kid, Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. He will be coming on in studio right around 4:40 here, his Wednesday appearance on Rock Chalk Sports. Before Henry, though, we're going to hear from KU Center Bryce Foster, who spoke to the media yesterday. And then the 5 o'clock hour, Dan, our great opportunity to engage with fans of the show.
That's right. Did you know it's by the people and for the people? It's the KU Mailbag. The KU Mailbag, where you send us questions and we try to answer them to the best of our abilities. I love KU Mailbag. It's my favorite one. Got a lot of people sending us really good questions. Right. Aaron, Adam, KU Najee, which I believe is his government name, KU Najee. He was born with that name.
Yeah,
Do you know that?
Isn't that the craziest thing?
It's absolutely insane.
Your name is Daniel.
Yes.
Something.
Joseph, Peter, Juan Diego, Courtwright.
Johnson. Soon to be Johnson, as Dan will be getting married at some point in 2029. We will have to see. Jim Zebrowski audio following our KU Mailbag segment, and then we're going to close talking KU Volleyball. Ray Bouchard honored today in a big way, and some MLB postseason updates as well. Right now, Game 4 of the series in Motown, Detroit and Seattle tied 3-3 in the 6th inning. If Detroit wins, that means that we get a game at least guaranteed on Friday. So here's what I am as a sports fan, and I know you know this about me, but I'm naturally cheering for the Tigers today because they're down in the series 2-1.
Sure.
And the best two words in sports, Game 5.
3. Oh, Game 5, I mean. Yeah, sorry.
Totally
No, I know, I did.
So
Game 5.
I just want there to be a Game 5. That means we have at least one baseball game on Friday. And
so you just want, you like more games.
Tonight, you're not going to like this, but I'm cheering for the Yankees. They're down to the Jays, 2-1. Tie it up. That way we get a standalone game at like 3 on Friday and then another standalone game at 7. Both winner take all. Hard to argue with that.
I just want to I'm going to clip that out, by the way, and I'm just going to leave in the part where Sean says, I'm cheering for the Yankees.
Yes. You know who hates the Yankees? Henry Greenstein, sort of a California, New York
East
rivalry.
Coast, West Coast thing?
Yeah. He's not a big fan.
Sure.
Although I understand that his dad, who, fun fact, and this is not me making this up, actually was one of the writers of multiple shows of the show Friends.
It is crazy.
Show. Literally, his name is something. Maybe Greenstein.
Jeff Greenstein? That sounds right. Look him up. He was the showrunner on Will and Grace too. Which, by the way, that doesn't make Henry a nepo baby, right? Because I can imagine. I
think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I can imagine your dad being a writer on Friends gets you into the college sports writing,
specifically KUSports.com.
KUSports.com and Lawrence Journal World. Maybe that was, maybe so. But that is a fun fact, though. That is a very fun fact about our good friend Henry Greenstein. So maybe he does have a special place in his heart for New York.
That's true.
That's where it takes place.
His dad spent some time there.
But wasn't Joey Tribbiani a Mets fan?
Although, now that I say that, wasn't Friends, though based in New York, actually
filmed in L.A.?
Filmed in L.A. Okay.
Yeah,
well, there you go. There goes any hope.
Shatters the illusion.
It really does. No, looking forward to Henry coming on at 4:40. Of course, we have our KU Mailbag segment right after the top of the hour. Want to say big thanks to Miles Schneider and everybody over at Crown Automotive for their partnership here at Kansas Nation. Follow us on all your socials, Instagram, Twitter, X, Twitch. I said X. I never do that. But it's Twitter/X.
I don't think I've ever called it X before.
I hate it. You and I took an oath that we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's just like a muscle memory thing. It's just like, tweets, Twitter.
Twitter sounds better.
I just saw it on Twitter. I saw it on X.
Because people still say tweets, right?
Yeah. But they changed it to posts, which is just so dumb.
No, tweet.
Yeah, it's a tweet.
Tweet.
Anyway, tweeted it out.
Anyway, TikTok as well. And, of course, KansasNation.com is where you're going to find all of our coverage for everything. We have Haney and the Hawks up there right now, a special interview Brian Haney had with Todd Reesing, greatest quarterback in KU history. A little bit later in the month, we're going to have a Haney and the Hawks featuring Jared Casey as well, the pride of Plainville, Kansas.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show as well. But you got Legends of Kansas with Brandon McAnderson and Chris Harris, the Jayhawker podcast with Nate Bukaty, all sorts of great stuff, kansasnation.com. Dan, let's talk KU basketball here. ESPN putting the Jayhawks about where we expected, I think, because we seem to think that people on the outside are not going to be high on Kansas. I don't know if it's because KU I can't think of any reasoning that's realistic and even somewhat fair without bringing up the fact that KU was preseason number 1 the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think that made people angry, and they realized that they were wrong.
Yes.
KU didn't perform to that level. But if you want to play the too many newcomers card, I guess you could do that. You certainly can't say they don't have a good enough player. You certainly can't say they don't have a good enough coach. I don't think you can question the depth at all. So I really don't know, other than people being salty about how the last 2 years went.
I think that's definitely the case, right? I think that it's like, oh, well, we gave you 2 chances in a row in your I guess it wasn't in a row. Was it in a row?
It was.
Yeah, it was in a row. 2 chances in a row where you're preseason number 1 and you completely soiled the bed, if you will. So, yeah, I think that there are a lot of national pundits who are like, you know what? I'm not going to make the same mistake, because it looks bad on them, right? If they have Kansas preseason number 1 and all of a sudden Kansas winds up being a 6 seed or whatever they were last year, then it's like, well, okay. Yeah, and I mean, I was wrong about that. I want to look like I know ball, so they're just going based off of recency bias, saying, all right, well, I'm not going to pick Kansas super high anymore, right? I'm going to drop them lower, and if they exceed expectations, whatever, and it's still going to look like they're wrong, but they want to kind of err on the side of like, all right, well, 2 years in a row they underperformed, so they're just going to err on the side of maybe they're going to underperform once again, and they're going to kind of keep them where that underperformance kind of was, right? So it makes sense, and we can kind of run through this. Again, this is Jeff Borzello. This is not like an official AP top 25 or anything like that. This is just some guy who came out. Now, he does have Kansas up 10 spots from where John Rothstein had Kansas at number 32, which was asinine to me. Absolutely
I think
ridiculous.
the more I think about it, the more I agree with you as it relates to clickbait on that front. Like, I'm going to try to always remember Rothstein as who he initially was, which was a college basketball enthusiast. Like, count me down the days until Green Bay takes on Elon. You know, that's what I want to know. But I do kind of feel like that you're right about that. That it's more of a clickbait thing. Like, Kansas at 32 is absolutely unheard of.
It's like, remember Big Game Boomer?
If KU ends up as an 8 seed or a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament, I will completely clip this out. I will put a $25 Jimmy John's gift card in a note to John Rothstein and send it his way. All right, but I don't envision that happening, because KU is going to be significantly better than the 32nd best team in the country.
100%. Yeah, and I think that like I said, you remember, if you real like guys who are on Twitter remember Big Game Boomer, like he would just make these ridiculous lists of like, and there was like nothing even to them, right? Like KU, he tried to get credentialed for a KU game, and they're like, no, you're just some guy, and he goes, you know what? Fine. I don't like KU anymore. And he always put him at like the bottom of his lists of like party towns or best team in Kansas or whatever it was. There was no facts behind it, right? And Rothstein feels to me like he's slouching into that a little bit, just kind of clickbaity type of thing. I'm with you. Like, Rothstein was a fantastic insider.
And
he loves
still
basketball.
does that.
I don't think I've ever seen another person who loves basketball, college basketball, as much as John Rothstein does. I mean, he goes on some shows every year, and they always ask him like, hey, what'd you think of the Super Bowl? He's like, I don't know, I was watching Lehigh and Bucknell or whoever, right? So
great poll. That would be a conference game. They're both in the Patriot League.
Thank you. I know.
Nice. I'm proud of you, man.
I did that.
Wow.
That's insane. Yeah, but that's like a typical Rothstein thing to be like, he'll watch it. He'll be like, watching that on his phone while he's at a Super Bowl party or something. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, let's go through this Jeff Borzello ranking, because it is interesting. We'll kind of do a quick skim through it. Number 1 is Purdue. I don't think there's really any surprises there, right? Trey Kaufman-Renn is fantastic. Braden Smith is going to be back for, I mean, it feels like he's been there for a long time.
Big Ten Player of the Year last year.
Yeah, and he's obviously fantastic as well. Fletcher Lawyer, really good. They got a South Dakota State transfer in Oscar Clough. So it makes sense that they're the number 1 team in the nation preseason, according to Jeff Borzello, right? Number 2, Florida. They're coming off of a national championship, obviously. Now, they did lose some players from that squad, but they still have a lot of guys coming back as well. They also got Boogie Fland out of the transfer portal, which is huge for them. Also, Xavier Lee, who KU was hot on his trail. The Houston Cougars, they're number 3. That's the top Big 12 team as of right now. UConn 4, St. John's 5, and then I'll kind of go through the other Big 12 programs as BYU comes in at the number 7 spot. They got Rob Wright, right? They got from Baylor, Kennard Davis from Southern Illinois, AJ DiBanza, obviously we all know as the number 2 player in the class of 2025. Then scrolling down a little bit more just to find some Big 12 schools. 11 is going to be Texas Tech. Obviously, JT Toppin, Big 12 Player of the Year, is going to be back for Texas Tech. That's absolutely huge for them. Got a lot of really good transfers as well, and Tyree Bryant as well as Lil Juan Watts. Arizona's coming in at 13 with Jaden Bradley. Anthony Del Orso was awesome last year. Koa Pete, he's going to be coming in. That's going to be a lot of fun to kind of see him. Toby Awaka is going to be back as well. Also, Bronny James Jr.'s brother, Bryce James, of the way that he's famous is that he's Bronny James Jr.'s brother, right? Also, LeBron James's son. He's going to be there. I don't know if he's going to be playing a whole heck of a lot, but it's still interesting that that Arizona did wind up getting him. Iowa State's coming in at number 15. Obviously, really good. Milan Momcilovic, Tamin Lipsey, those kind of guys. The usual suspects, if you will. And then Kansas comes in at number 22, and it's actually down 1 spot from where Jeff Borzello originally had them. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday when we kind of just did a brief overview of this. If you look at just plain stats, right, you have 1 player from last year who got any playing time whatsoever, any meaningful playing time whatsoever, and that's Flory Bidunga, and he only averaged less than 6 points per game last year. So from a returning production standpoint, I can see why to the naked eye that would be sort of a bad thing, like a bad look, right? You're bringing back your backup center who averaged 5.9 points per game last year, and that's it. You had to go to the transfer portal to get everybody else. Yeah, you have Darren Peterson coming in. He's going to be a freshman. Is he up to the task? We have no idea. We know, but the national pundits don't. So it's I think on a base layer outsider perspective, I can see why Kansas is a little bit underranked.
I can see that as well, and you brought that up yesterday, and it was definitely a good point. That being said, if that's how Borzello in this case is looking at it, or anybody who ranks Kansas in the 20s, in the 30s, wherever it looks at it, that's an incredibly lazy way to look at it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And surely these people understand that you're going to see improvement, and people understand that Flory Bidunga is going to be better. But yeah, I do think that that's very lazy, and I think that people are literally looking at Kansas as first and foremost the team who was preseason number 1 the last 2 years and didn't do anything.
They wet the bed, yeah.
And then they're looking at it as, oh, well, they have to replace all these guys. Mind you, these guys were on the teams that did underperform so much. Yeah. And you have to go into the portal to get so many guys. But I just don't think that from a roster standpoint, people realize how deep Kansas is. And we probably say that every year, right? Because we're thinking that, hey, this is going to be the year that Joe Yesufu has his moment, right? And it realistically doesn't. Yeah,
we see value in Samis Calderon when nobody else knows his name, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the difference is, and let's just use the 2 guys we just said, Joe Yesufu clearly had a ceiling.
Yeah.
Samis Calderon, he might play the 10th most minutes on this year's team, maybe 11th most minutes. Who knows? Yeah. But his ceiling is very different than what somebody like Yesufu is. 100%. And I don't want to, I like Joe Yesufu and all that.
Yeah, good guy.
But we talk about the depth a lot in the offseason. This year feels different to where it really is guy after guy after guy. And I feel like at practice, and I feel like particularly as the season goes on, the internal competition is going to be like it hasn't been in a long time. And plus, just in general, 22 is a lazy spot to put Kansas for anybody who puts them that low, because it's different than the previous years where Kansas hasn't had the NBA talent. So you've got the depth, but you also have the NBA talent, the length, the athleticism, the bounce, the ability to play both ends. KU was very limited. And maybe on the flip side, you could look back and say, hey, it was lazy of the AP voters last year or the year prior to put Kansas at number 1.
No, that's
right?
that's
you
very
could say
fair,
that
right?
Because you said, okay, Hunter Dickinson, there's a guy who is an All-American, and DeJuan Harris, he's a 6-year point guard. But the difference is, when you look at the national champions the last however many years, when you look at teams playing in the Final Four consistently, they have NBA guys. They have top-tier guys. Kansas didn't have that the past couple of years, but they do this year.
And I think I disagree with you in terms of it being lazy from last year, because we did this too, right? You looked at it and you go, man, Kansas went into the transfer portal and they got a starter from a Final Four team and a guy who was second team All Big Ten and averaged 18 points per game at Wisconsin, who's not known for scoring. I mean, those are two guys who are going to be electric this year. Oh man, they got Zeke Mayo. He was the player of the year in the whatever conference South Dakota State was. Summit League. It's like, yeah, that's incredible. But also, they didn't live up to the expectations. So I think they kind of looked at that and they're like, man, they have the talent. They don't have the chemistry. And I mean, I don't know. You can look at this and kind of say the same thing. It's like, well, do they have the chemistry? It's like, no, but that almost is going to kind of bring them closer together, especially, kind of through the offseason, if they're all kind of learning with each other, right? And also to the point about, guys who they have no idea about, right? Like Elmarco Jackson, I think is a prime example of something like that, where it's like, look, if you look at Elmarco from an outsider's perspective, he was a 5-star All-American, McDonald's All-American kind of guy who's just been riddled with injuries and was terrible his freshman year. So they're already writing him off. We are super high on Elmarco Jackson, and we understand that his ceiling hasn't even been close.
His ceiling is the roof.
His ceiling is the roof.
Yeah.
Did you just come up with that?
I did.
That's good.
Yeah, I like it, right? You got to close your eyes.
Okay.
Ceiling is the roof.
Okay, I like that. But yeah, I mean, like with a guy like Elmarco Jackson, or even with a guy like who could be a role player like Jamari McDowell, which we haven't seen a lot of, right? He took a red shirt last year, didn't see him at all. So the national pundits don't know these guys' names, or there's a negative connotation with a lot of these guys' names. There's going to be guys who are going to kind of come to the forefront, right? You're going to see guys like Melvin Council and Jaden Dawson, guys who played at mid-level talent, but also you can see the rawness, you can see their raw ability of just being a good basketball player, right? You can obviously point at the competition that, they played against worse competition than they are going to play in the Big 12. You can look at that and say, well, yeah, but look at their three-point percentage. Look at the way that they handle the ball. Watch the tape. You can't put statistics and you can't put any specific numbers on just the raw talent that a lot of these guys have, and they're taking that step up. And Bill Self and Jacques Vaughn and all of the coaching staff saw that in those guys, and they said, those are the kind of guys that we want on this Kansas squad. So you can look at it and say, look, you're fitting a bunch of pieces of a puzzle together that have never been put together before. But I'm really high on this squad. And now, is it biased? Yes, we're Rock Chalk Sports. Of course, we're going to be biased. We're KU fans through and through, but we see these guys all the time. Like we see them practice. We see all the press conferences. We hear from these guys, right? Where a lot of the guys, they probably, like the national pundits, they don't know that Elmarco Jackson was going to be on an absolute tear before his injury last year. They don't understand that. They just look at that guy and they go, oh yeah, well, he's a bust. No, he's not. He hasn't had the opportunity. He was thrown to the Wolves early, dealt with injuries. Now he's going to be back, and I think he's going to have a massive year. So there's a lot of, like you said, laziness in the national media of just lack of coverage and lack of understanding of this Kansas basketball team.
Well, let's veer away a little bit from KU from a roster standpoint. We have all sorts of time to do that. And, of course, you got to check out our coverage, Late Night in the Fog, a week from Friday. We are going to be at Allen Fieldhouse.
We're going to be the dueling DJs.
All sorts of coverage. That would be quite –
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be cool. Maybe we are. They just haven't asked us yet.
That's true. Yeah, surprise. Pull a name out of a hat.
Let's look at this Borzello top 25 where KU checks in at 22. You mentioned some of the Big 12 teams, some of the teams at the top. How about just the teams that Kansas is facing, right? Houston is number 3 in the non-con. KU's got UConn at Allen Fieldhouse on December 2nd. UConn checks in at number 4. Of course, they had back-to-back championships. Solo Ball and Alex Caravan are names that you will recognize from that. And then how about number 6, Daniel? We're going to be taking on the Louisville Cardinals exhibition on October 24th. That's Friday. It just came out yesterday, 6:30 tip.
And you're going to be there
in Louisville. I will be there at KFC Yum Center. I'm excited to see that. But
play-by-play. Listen in on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Appreciate that. Isaac McNeely, Michael Brown, top-tier talented guys for Louisville. Again, number 6. So, yeah, that'll be a good test for KU, as has been the case when they've gone to places like Fayetteville and Champaign these last couple seasons. BYU checks in at 7. KU, of course, will get them. And then in Sin City,
an absolute disgrace that we only get to see that once.
I know, it is. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they did that. But, of course, not only do they have Dubonsa, they return Richie Saunders, his first-team All-Big 12 guy, Rob Wright, another amazing player who was a freshman at Baylor, and they lose him to BYU. That's a terrible, terrible loss for Baylor, and I'm sure they're still reeling from that. But Keba Keita, another quality player for BYU as well. So they're number 7. KU also gets number 10, Duke, who loses Cooper Flagg, of course, but that'll be the battle in Sin City on November 18th. The Boozer brothers are in Durham. That will be a good test as well for KU up front. Tech is number 11, like you said. Arizona is number 13. Iowa State is number 15. And those are the teams that Kansas will face that are ranked ahead of them in this Borzello top 25. For what it's worth, North Carolina State is number 24. KU gets them on the road in Raleigh in December. Darion Williams' revenge game, some would say. And then 25th is North Carolina. KU gets UNC in the Dean Dome. That's coming up a week from yesterday, actually, November 7th. I say a week, a month from yesterday. A month from yesterday, November 7th at the Dean Dome. It's KU and UNC. They return Seth Trimble. Of course, they get the Kansas City kid, Kean Evans, coming over from Colorado State. Henry Vasar, he absolutely transferred over from Arizona, and they're expecting big things from him. Tommy Lloyd lost a lot of talented guys to the transfer portal, but needless to say, KU, again, is going to get tested by high-quality teams. And that's what makes it so fun to be a KU fan, is that Bill Self, even if Kansas doesn't win all of them, which they sure win most of them. I mean, his record's ridiculous against top 10 teams. His record has been ridiculous the past 8 years in the Champions Classic. KU always seems to find a way. But even the years that they don't, the off years, and they're not going to win every game, it's so entertaining because KU's schedule's so difficult. They got the Players Era tournament as well, so another one of these teams they might see at some point. Yep. But exciting stuff, and it all starts October 24th at the Yum Center KU Louisville exhibition. Then we get Fort Hays State, your boys, Tuesday, October 28th, and then the Doug Gottlieb revenge game, November 3rd to start the season.
Here, if you're
that's right, you hate Fort Hays. I forgot. I forget.
I hate Fort Hays.
Yes.
Hate them with a burning passion. For the Green Bay game,
Washburn, you also hate.
I've told you this off. I can't remember if I said this on air. I hate Washburn more than I hate Mizzou. Anyway, sorry, off topic. The Green Bay game, when Doug Gottlieb comes to Lawrence, please, if you are at this game, start the shorts on backwards chant. Please do it. It would be so funny because that was his claim to fame. He was an all right player at Oak State, but when he played at Allen Fieldhouse, he put his shorts on backwards, and everybody started chanting "shorts on backwards." Please, during the Green Bay game, this is a public service announcement. Somebody start that chant. I want it so bad.
It'd be great. What would also be great as it relates to the students, Allen Fieldhouse in general, we need to kick it up a notch.
Stand up.
We do.
Stand up.
If you're a KU student out there watching the game, if you go to Allen Fieldhouse, you're out there, you're camping out. The last couple years, again,
why are you camping out to go sit down?
30,000 feet view, whatever you want to call it. It hasn't been the same the last couple years. The juice needs to be there from the tip. And you got to stay standing. That includes during timeouts. You got to get. I mean, I would not to be that guy. People love it. Back in my day, but seriously, I would go home from KU games and have to shower because I'm sweating.
Bourne was running out of the tunnel at Hoke Auditorium.
I am sweating through my shorts. Seriously. Imagine that.
I can't.
Seriously. So you need to be sweating from jumping up and down. And there are some good atmospheres, but it needs to be from the jump, right? We need to get back that.
Last year in North Carolina, I thought it was a great atmosphere. But that needs to continue.
I get it. If we're beating Mizzou by 30 in the second half in any given year, I get it. It's although Mizzou is a bad example because you should be locked in or out. But if you're beating even Iowa State by 30 in the second half, I get it. You're maybe not going to have the juice, but you need to do the best you can to have it. And it's just, you and I have talked about this. It's just not been the same.
Allen Fieldhouse has a reputation to uphold as the greatest indoor sports arena in the history of the world. I'll say that, at least college.
The history of the world. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, fine.
No, I love it.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, some of those EuroLeague basketball, they kind of get a little crazy, but uphold that reputation. And it's on the fans. It's on the student section to uphold that reputation of being the greatest indoor basketball facility in the world.
As sort of a side note to that, you got to start the Rock Chalk chant. I know we didn't get to as often last year because we lost 3 games and there were a lot of close games, but you got to start the Rock Chalk chant. I mean, that's got to happen. Anyway, more on that as basketball season comes forward, but that's where KU's at in Borzello's preseason top 25, number 22. We'll see if KU can rise above that and stay there as the season rolls on. After this, though, talking KU football, we're going to hear from center and team captain Bryce Foster. You are watching Rock Chalk Sports on KansasNation.com and listening to ESPN Kansas City.
This is Daniel Highshaw, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
KU football 4-2, 2-1 after their victory in Orlando on Saturday, 27-20 over UCF. Bryce Foster, one of the captains of this team, talked about that and the upcoming battle in Lubbock a little bit earlier this week.
15 minutes ago, Coach Zebrowski said he thought it was your best game against UCF. Do you agree with that assessment, or how did you feel?
Yeah, definitely I agree. I think I came in with a lot more confidence just based off of the week of practice that I had. Coming off the field Wednesday and Thursday, I felt like I had my 2 best practices again up to this point. And so I was super excited to go play. I knew what the weather was going to be like in Florida. I knew it wasn't going to be cold. It was going to be a little humid, a little bit rainy. So my mind was already set and ready for any scenario that was going to happen.
When you're playing in the weather like that, do you feel like that benefits you, hurts you? I mean, what's the matchup there when it's that type of weather?
Any weather, any place, any time. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just ready to play ball.
What do you see from Texas Tech's D-line?
Yeah, they're a big group. They're good at a lot of things. Not really bad at a lot of things. But they're good. We're excited for the challenge this week. We've played a handful of pretty good D-lines and boxes so far, and so we're just ready for our next challenge.
What do you think about Lee Hunter?
He's a big guy. He's a big, strong guy. I know he played at UCF a couple years ago, and so Kobe actually played against him. So I kind of asked him a little bit about what he thought, and I'm probably going to text some of the older guys who were here when they played him to kind of see what their thoughts on him. I know he plays a lot of head-up nose, and so I'm definitely going to have my hands full, but I'm excited for the challenge.
How much does it help when you play other D-lines at Missouri, West Virginia that have talent? How much does that help you when you then come up against a team like Texas Tech?
Yeah, I kind of look at my whole career. I came from the SEC, and anytime I'm super nervous to play somebody, for example, I was super excited to play against Corleone from Cincinnati. He didn't get to play, but I was super excited to get to play against him. But I was nervous, of course. But anytime I get nervous, it's not an unconfidence nervous. It's I'm excited nervous because I look back at my career and I'm like, man, I played against the Alabamas. I played against all those teams who've had guys that are that good, that legit. It's not the first time for me that I'm going against somebody that's of this caliber.
For you guys as an offensive line, where do you think you've taken the biggest steps forward, maybe since that first bye week?
Yeah, I think confidence-wise, I think we finally started to gel as a group. I think I said a couple weeks ago, whenever I did media, that we kind of started our gelling process, but the continuity wasn't just quite there yet. I think we've taken a huge step since then.
You mentioned your time in the SEC. Are there any players that you still remember that you might compare to Dante or anyone else?
what was his name? It was my very first SEC game ever. I got my butt whipped in the first half pretty bad against Arkansas. I know his nickname was the Vanilla Gorilla. I remember him pretty vividly. I remember that whole week of practice as well. And I remember in the first half, I looked at my O-line coach and I was like, man, this is crazy. And then I kind of turned it up a little bit in the second half and started kind of figuring myself out. And then there's another guy from LSU my very first year. I forgot what his name was. I think it's Farrell. I know that was his last name. It's from LSU. And same thing kind of happened that game. First half, I was getting my butt kicked, and then the second half, I kind of pulled it together. I was like, all right, I kind of got it figured out now. And so I played against guys that are really, really good, really, really big, really, really strong, and so just another one of those challenges that I'm ready to attack.
For you guys playing on the road, night game, how much does your experience in communication with Jalen, how much does that help you guys as an offense as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, we blare music during practice, so we kind of already know what to expect. We know it's going to be loud. I think I literally just saw on their Twitter that it's going to be it's our homecoming, it's sold out, and it's a blackout. And so we know the energy is going to be there. You know, like people talk about home field advantage. I mean, it is a real thing, but that energy is also going to feed into us, and that's something I'm excited for.
For you with the different packages, whenever Zeke or Cole come into the game, what's that like on your end in terms of communication, making sure everything's good? You know, when you have a guy coming in for maybe just a handful of snaps that you're snapping into him.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of already know the plays when we have those personnel come in, and so during the week, whenever we practice those plays, I don't think they're the same plays every week, but we typically have a set play that we have when those people come into the game. And so whenever they come in, I'm like, all right, I already know where my mind's shifting of what play is going to be run, and so I can kind of have an idea already in the huddle. But nothing really changes other than that.
That's KU Center Bryce Foster yesterday. Always love catching up with him. After this, another guy we love catching up with, Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com and the Lawrence Journal-World will join us in studio. You're listening to ESPN Kansas City and watching KansasNation.com.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
John Kellerman, Dan Courtwright back here for Rock Chalk Sports. We're joined every Wednesday by the California kid, Henry Greenstein. And Henry ever so kindly brought us this Vinny Pasquantino bobblehead. It's a special edition, and it's a baseball card style. You can see it looks like a baseball card. So it's smaller than your normal bobblehead, like my Salvi one right here. Very kind of you, Henry. Appreciate
it's a one
that.
of one. He stayed up all night in his basement making it, painting it, hand by hand.
That's incredibly speculative.
I know, it's super nice, Henry.
One of three. I can't wait for Henry to bring the other two because one's Pasquantino. I can only imagine what 2 and 3 are for here. But no, Henry, appreciate that. Very kind. I'm going to put him right over here next to my Salvi bobblehead. But how are you? A long day of work, I'd imagine, today over at KUSports.com and the Lawrence Journal-World.
Yeah, it's been a pleasant enough day. Thank you for asking, Sean. Just writing some preview coverage ahead of this weekend's game, working on my AP mid-season All-America team, which is a bit of a challenge because it's kind of a small sample size. But on the whole, can't complain. I hope you guys are having a fine day as well.
So no more Mizzou fans in your mentions tweeting out box scores?
Or Tennessee fans?
I actually think that the tweet I said were about please don't post total yards in my replies only encouraged people further.
Right.
Because I think I probably got twice as many.
You should know this. That's the rules of Twitter.
Don't you know it was 595 to 254? I got that twice as many times.
Well, I do want you to know as you're compiling your list for AP midseason awards that you're not allowed to put Darion Williams on there because I know you're a fan and you liked his chances of coming to KU. He ends up going to NC State and it's football. So you got to make sure that Darion Williams does not find its way onto the midseason.
There's a 70% chance he finds his way on there. I bet on Henry's list for sure.
No, we were talking. Actually, we'll start with basketball because we were talking about that in the opening segment. But KU number 22, Jeff Borzello. We're going to break this down. I mean, this is one guy. It's not like the AP where a bunch of professionals come together and put together a poll. Borzello has KU at 22. We're going to have a lot of basketball chatter here, of course, the coming months. Seems low to us. I don't know, Henry, you're always good at kind of taking a bird's eye view. Do you think that's a fair ranking for this Kansas team? Do you think it's low like we do? Where do you stand on that?
Well, I agree with kind of your meta-textual take that people are sick of KU under-delivering on its #1 ranking. So now I think they may have swung a little too far in the other direction, which is natural. I also think a lot of people, maybe because of the timing of KU's last couple moves, didn't really understand the importance of that and filling out the team's roster. So maybe they're operating from like what they kind of saw, where there was a mass exodus in the early part of the spring and then not a whole lot of people coming in to replace it. I think 15 to 20 is probably fair. But I just think, as I said, like from an outside perspective or a bird's eye view, as you put it, like people don't want to be burned again by putting KU higher. And so now they may be underestimating the power of having a Hall of Fame coach and potentially the top NBA draft pick.
Who are you most excited for on this team? You can't say DP, obviously, but there's guys that we've talked about a lot. People say Cole Rosario, and certainly the Rosario and Mbia, the guys you were alluding to, the late additions, and of course Kenyu Gala as well. But in addition to those guys, KU added some other guys early that maybe aren't generating as much of a buzz, at least from guys like us, just because they're not as new, right? But Trey White and Jaden Dawson, we haven't talked about as much, but those are two guys who could be 2 of the starting 5 for Kansas. So just kind of holistically, from a roster standpoint, what excites you? Who's a guy that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, I was going to say Rosario, but since you kind of took that out of the picture, I'll go elsewhere. I heard Darren Peterson in an interview this week with Andy Katz say that he and Melvin Council are going to be one of the best backcourts in the country. So with that in mind, I'm going to say Melvin Council.
Yeah.
That strongly indicates to me he'll be the starting 2 guard for one thing.
Yeah.
But also, I think his attitude and his skill set are exactly in line with the ethos of what Bill Self wants this team to be. And in terms of the athleticism and the commitment to defensive intensity, they also represent a divergence from, I guess, things that they may have been lacking in years past. I think he was really effective at St. Bonaventure, which is not like a low-level program. Like that's Atlantic 10's pretty high level of play.
The Fighting Adrian Wojnarowskis.
They are that now, yes. I believe they've officially changed their name.
Yeah.
From the Fighting Melvin Councils, yeah. They switched up.
So, but I think Council would probably be next on the list. But, Rosario is an obvious pick because he's a buzzy freshman who has earned a lot of praise over the summer, and that praise seems to be building up. But in terms of those transfers who came in early, I'll say Council.
And we want to talk about the hot streak that Bill Self has been on the recruiting trail. One more question about this year's, because Late Night in the Fog coming up next week, right? Really excited about that, but also not a lot of things you can really pull out in terms of, just what you want to see, right? A lot of it's for show, and they're going to do like a fun dance and the dueling DJs, which I hear you're going to be one of the dueling DJs, Henry. Is that right? You're going to be up there, scratching some vinyl. But in terms of Late Night in the Fog, what are you going to be watching? And like, how are you going to kind of assess who is looking good, how they're looking? Because it is an interesting kind of event.
Yeah, I want to offer an on-the-record comment about the dueling DJs first, which is I think that the idea of dueling DJs is so fascinating to me because I don't want 2 people playing music at the same time. Like, are they taking turns?
You could write an entire article about that.
Are they across from each other? How are they dueling?
I don't know.
Are they sword
like
fighting?
Dueling pianos, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, I guess. And
lightsabers.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
instead, they're just like clicking play on their Spotify playlist.
I guess so. In any event, I think the thing that I will be taking away from Late Night in the Fog is who does not participate in it. I feel like last year during Late Night, there were like a lot of women's players who didn't play, and that sort of served as a bad omen of the injuries that they would deal with throughout the season. Even on the men's side, Hunter didn't end up taking part, or didn't take part much, because I think he hurt his foot, and then he didn't play in the exhibition after that. So I think injuries and team health are really the main thing you kind of take away, because the basketball bears no resemblance to the actual basketball that either team will be playing. So you sort of just have to use this binary indicator of like, is someone playing or not, as the most informative aspect. And then also just like any stuff that the coaches say during or after the games that might be interesting.
Sure. Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. Henry Greenstein, KSports.com, Lawrence Shorter World, joins us here in studio. Henry, want to talk about, like I said, the hot streak Bill Self has been on. Talk about Tay Kenny, Trent Perry, Davion Adkins, Javon Bardwell in the class of 27, who there's rumblings about him potentially reclassifying. Just talk about this hot streak and what you're seeing out of these guys, how they can potentially fit in, because we're probably going to see some departures, right? Darren Peterson, NBA, Flory Badunga probably going to go to the NBA. A lot of seniors on this squad. Talk about just how some of these guys are going to be able to fit in for the 2026-27 year.
Yeah, I think it may even have gone beyond rumblings with Bardwell in the sense that OTE put out a video where he's like talking to Tay Kinney on FaceTime and is like, hey, I just got to take a couple extra classes.
That's right, yeah.
So I'll be very interested to see how that progresses. Obviously, it seems like there's at least a desire on his part to move into 26, so we'll see if that happens. But yeah, you talked about the amazing job Bill Self has done with putting this together, and I think certainly this will go down as one of the best recruiting weeks in terms of material results that we've seen in a long time from KU. I also think it reflects very well on the new assistants. We heard a lot about Jock Vaughn and these various people announcing their commitments. It seems like for Tay Kinney, that was a big aspect, the opportunity to play with a guy who was a guard himself and also has coached elite guards at the NBA level. And then I think Bardwell, that was kind of a Tony Bland deal. Bland had offered him at Washington and played a significant role in that recruitment. But yeah, a nice, well-rounded group of 4. And if you think about it, kind of like there are going to be 4 senior transfers going out next year, so it lines up very nicely. Obviously, they still have the opportunity to recruit others, with DP being a surefire one and done. And I believe Eric Bossi at 24/7 has reported they'll have Luke Barnett in for a visit at late night. So possibility of getting some more. He's like a shooter. I think he's from Mater Dei in California. And so still work in progress.
You're familiar with, I'm sure.
Oh, very much so. Though I have not spent a lot of time in Santa Ana, which is where Mater Dei is located. But in any case, you got an elite point guard, you got a developmental wing who has attributes that Self prizes. You got a center who has some Flory Badunga-like characteristics in terms of being a long lefty who can rebound and block shots. And then in Bardwell, you got a versatile wing who maybe you get next year, maybe you get the year after. It's all shaping up quite nicely.
Yeah, sure is. KU basketball looking good for 26-27. And needless to say, when Late Night in the Fog happens a week from Friday, people will be excited about that. Henry, I think it was funny because Dan asked you about what you're looking for at Late Night in the Fog. And it really is, you don't know. I mean, you're hoping to see everybody. But one of my buddies, I remember 5 or 6 years ago, however long it's been, after Late Night in the Fog, I met up with him. And in consecutive years, he said the player he was most excited for, and this is right after Late Night, was Sam Cunliffe. And then Charlie Moore, right? So it didn't work out, but it's not exactly an end-all, be-all, but it is fun seeing the guys get out there and put on some sort of display. I know they've messed around with the structure a little bit and all that, but excited for that a week from Friday. Hey, let's talk KU football. Orlando, not great weather, but a fantastic, ugly win for KU. I've said many times this week, I don't think you can overstate how important it was, particularly when you look back at 2025 Kansas football. 4-2, 2-1, KU guts one out on the road. What did you like?
Yeah, I mean, if they lose that one, people are hitting the panic button, and for good reason. So the fact that they got out of it certainly bodes well for what's to come. What I liked was the second half defensive performance. I mean, I think the arc of the game as a whole sort of speaks to the mercurial nature of this unit and how we still don't totally know how reliable it can truly be, especially given that, as Lance Leipold and DK McDonald have said, they didn't really change much at halftime. It's more just that the players started executing better. And as Leipold said, like, they can't afford another slow start this weekend at Tech. But man, I mean, the pursuit, the penetration, the mental fortitude to get those 2 fourth-down stops. Like, it's one thing to get a goal line stand, which is extremely impressive, but to have to go out there and do it again, I feel like that may even have been understated in the days since. So some encouraging signs there, and you just think maybe for a team's confidence, it does a lot to pick up a road win like that and get yourself back on the right track.
And how much of that do you think was Bengali Kamara, right? Because obviously there's 11 players out there on the defense, but Bengali Kamara coming back in that second half, I think really turned it around for the Kansas defense. How important is a piece like Bengali Kamara, and are we kind of like not talking about him enough in terms of his importance on this Kansas defense?
It's hard to believe we could be not talking about him enough because he has been a central talking point so many weeks this year with the injury, with the coming back from Missouri, with the but even so, I mean, he's one of the best players on the team. There's no doubt about it. And, you see him leaping over the pile on the quarterback sneak and pushing Fancher back and pushing also, I think it was Fancher into a sack by Tommy Dunn. Just a huge difference maker. I'm really looking forward to seeing a full game of Bengali. He hasn't really gotten the chance to play one a lot this year, so that'll be exciting in the Tech game. But yeah, I mean, a good leader and a huge dynamic presence for them to have on the field.
I said also, yeah, they're maybe not atop the depth chart. Talking about the Dye brothers, certainly Jalen Dye, a guy who's pressed into action more. KU's been dealing with some injuries at the safety spot, but I do feel like we don't talk about those guys enough because they provide a lot from a depth standpoint for KU. And hey, that was the biggest play of the game. It's the biggest play of the season so far, what Jalen Dye did and getting a sack fumble for a defense that hasn't generated a lot of takeaways. That was massive and proves how important that stat is.
Yeah, I think it's good to see. This is sort of what people thought the Dye brothers were entering last season, but they were so plagued by injury and so frequently ineffective when they were playing hurt last year that maybe a lot of people got a distorted impression of what they were really like. But it's good to see Jalen Dye kind of stepping in, and he'll probably start on Saturday. I mean, we'll see tonight with the availability report, but with so many players injured, Taylor Davis gets banged up and Devin Dye gets banged up both in the span of that UCF game, and obviously Mason Ellis already out. Like, they need Jalen Dye. They don't have a lot of other options next to Lyric Rawls. I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe they'll start playing Damani Maxson a little bit at some point because there aren't a whole lot of safeties left for them to mix in. So I think, as you mentioned, Dye really stepped up. Devin Dye's had some good plays this year. Probably gets the interception if he doesn't clearly hurt his hamstring on the same play. But those guys have been valuable additions, and you're right. They've gone a bit under the radar, but it's good for them to get some shine.
Before we focus on KU's top 10 opponent, let's flip the field from KU's win over UCF. Offensively, the biggest plus was the tight red zone. KU was able to finish drives. Leishon gets all 3 touchdowns. Still 3 of 11. KU was as a whole in the third down conversion category. Got to improve there. And JD was solid. Didn't put the ball at risk. But certainly those touchdowns are important. And Leishon was able to plunge through and get them.
Yeah, it seems like they have more confidence giving him the ball close to the end zone than anywhere else on the field. I honestly think I'd like to see them give the ball to Leishon more consistently and with greater regularity over the course of the game because, if he's going to be your lead running back, you got to give him more than 11 or 12 carries. That's just my opinion. Yeah. I understand that Jalen's been playing at an incredible level, but, KU needs balance, and having good run outcomes on first and second down can help them get into easier third down situations where maybe that 3 of 11 gets a little higher. So I'd like to see them give Leishon the ball a little more, especially because the offensive line is improving over the course of the season. But as you mentioned, a mistake-free performance from JD, and that's always a welcome sight.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, and the Lawrence Journal World. You have a great article on LJ World and KUSports.com about the $300 million that David Booth has given. Can you give us kind of a breakdown of the way that works? Because there is a lot of questions of like, oh, well, hey, how is that money coming? Is it a lump sum? Is it in kind of payments? So kind of break down that article that you had featured on KUSports.com.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I think this was an important message to get out there because I've seen a lot of misconceptions about how exactly this donation works. I mean, all through the last recruiting week, whenever KU would get a commitment, all the Facebook comments would be, David Booth's money at work.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like, well, not exactly, because the way that Travis outlined it, it's going to be 6 or 7 years before they get to do what they want with the annual distributions they get of David Booth's money. So essentially, they're getting about $10 to $12 million a year. And for the first 6 or 7 years, that has to go toward getting to the $75 million threshold, which is how much is being devoted to phase 2 of the stadium. So it won't be until the 2030s that KU gets those same $10 to $12 million distributions and can just say, well, we can do whatever we want with this now.
Right.
And I think a lot of people have not internalized that. That'll be a great resource for them down the line, but right now it has no impact on their operating budget, except, of course, in the sense that, like, okay, your fundraisers don't have to spend time getting stadium stuff because they have $75 million, even though they still probably need to get more. But, like,
yeah.
There's an opportunity cost. Like, okay, well, since we're not doing that, we can raise more money for rev share. But other than that, the Booth donation is not impacting rev share right now.
KUSports.com, LJWorld.com, if you want to check out that article written by Henry. Speaking of resources and speaking of funds, Texas Tech. KU heads to Lubbock to take on the number 9 ranked Red Raiders Saturday night at 6:30. The result of the UCF game, which was a positive one for Kansas, I think not only affected potentially the entire course of the season for KU football and their fans, but also affects how you look at this game. All of a sudden, you're going in there kind of loose, right? You're playing loose. You understand that you're the underdog. You would have been that either way, but this isn't a, hey, everything needs to go right and we need to win or else this is terrible. At the same time, you can go in, you can play loose. If you play well, you can win this game. Just your thoughts on the Red Raiders, who have been pretty dominant so far.
I think it's well documented that KU under Lance Leipold functions well as an underdog. I mean, you think about last season ripping off those 3 ranked wins in a row. That's 5 of the. I mean, that's 3 of the 5 ranked wins Leipold has during his entire KU tenure. I think KU will be well suited to this sort of environment where everyone's underestimating them. They're a 2-touchdown underdog. Texas Tech is top 3 in every stat in the known universe. I think this is a comfortable position for a lot of the players on that team, especially guys like Jalen Daniels who have been around and have seen it all. That said, it's going to be a really tough one. I mean, you look at Texas Tech's D-line, and they've got a defensive end who has 31 pressures on the season, and
saying we have no shot.
I will say, as I mentioned earlier, KU's offensive line is looking a lot better. They're going to have to take yet another step forward because with David Bailey and Romello Height on the outside and Lee Hunter and Skylar Go Howard on the inside, that is a brutal front four. And then, of course, behind that, you got the preseason Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year and Jacob Rodriguez. So I'm really interested to see how KU contends with that. I'm not sure they handled it so well when there was a similar situation against Missouri. This will be a chance to demonstrate growth since that early stage of the season. And then on the other end, I think Baron Morton's a solid quarterback. I think he'll be closer to Bo Prabula and Brendan Sorsby than he is to Taven Jackson or Nico Marchiol. So maybe in the category of quarterbacks who can hurt KU through the air. We'll see if KU secondary can put together a full, complete game after struggling for portions of the last game and then totally bearing down in the second half, or at least when they needed to. So Texas Tech, obviously extremely talented at every position. They spent that money well. It would be hard to spend it poorly with how much they had, but they spent it well. And it's a testament to Joey McGuire that he's turned into a number 9 ranking and actual on-field results.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry, wanted to talk about KU Volleyball. They're going to be hosting Texas Tech, also playing Iowa State on Friday. Kansas right now 2-2 in the Big 12. The record doesn't necessarily reflect how good this team is. They're still ranked number 15 in the nation. Give us a preview of this. Also, in some other volleyball news, Ray Bouchard going into the AVCA Hall of Fame. A word on that as well.
Yeah, well deserved for Coach Bouchard, a quality guy, an excellent coach. It's been a pleasure getting to know him as part of my time on this beat. But I will say this, these 2 games, KU can build so much momentum. They're at home. These are not like top tier Big 12 teams. If they want to put themselves back in the conference race, and being number 15 is good because it effectively means that if you keep winning, you can host.
Yeah.
With the top 16 teams hosting, it's hard to believe that KU is in that position simply because of all the heartbreaking losses they've taken. But that win against Baylor, maybe that goes a long way. That was a ranked team on the road. Clearly, it impressed the voters. And maybe the team's starting to crystallize a little bit and get a sense of what they can truly be. I'm not sure exactly what to expect going forward. I thought Katie Dalton was great. We'll see how much Kristen Klein gets reincorporated as well as in this ongoing topic that we've discussed a lot with the involvement of those 2 setters. But yeah, Wednesday, Friday, 2 dates at home. You really want to see KU take full advantage.
Yeah, you sure do. And I was glued to my phone. I wasn't able to have ESPN Plus on the other night, but I was like, oh my God, we're going to a 5th set. Like, we've got to get this one. But it shows, and if you look at the AVCA poll, which you guys both mentioned, KU at number 15, they've got 7 losses. I'll give you an example. Minnesota, they're ranked 14th in the country. They've got 2 losses. Baylor is 1 spot behind Kansas. They've got 4 losses. Penn State has 6 losses. They're ranked number 19 in the country, but everybody above Kansas in the poll has somewhere between 0 and 4 losses, and KU has 7. Shows to the strength of schedule, and also shows that people aren't overreacting to losses to good teams, especially in those 5-set matches. So good on KU Volleyball for that. And Katie Dalton, Kristen Klein, I'm still, Katie Dalton has been, I think, maybe featured more often. You touched on this a little bit, but expand a bit if you can on just the setting situation for KU. Are they going to 6-2 pretty much primarily, or are they thinking, okay, we got to switch this up and we're going to rotate Dalton and Klein?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure because Klein didn't play against Baylor as far as I saw. I think she was down there in Texas and she was in the TCU game but didn't play. I'm not sure on the reasoning for that. And of course, volleyball doesn't yet.
That's what keeps us on our toes, is we're so used to having the Cameron Turner and Issei Havile. It's different, right? Because you've got 2 high quality, one a program person who's been here since 2021, and one a midseason or a freshman all Big 12 performer in Klein. So interesting what Coach Ulmer's doing on that front. KU soccer, real quick, they head to Iowa State. Struggled in losing both those matches at home to Baylor and TCU, but Caroline Caston's named to a midseason Player of the Year watch list. Your thoughts on Coach Lee's squad?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough stretch for them, and now the idea of contending for the Big 12 in the regular season is looking a bit more distant. I still think this is a solid and well-deserved tournament team, but they've had a lot of tough matchups early on. Going to Tech and losing 2-0 was a rough break. I mean, Zebrowski, or however you say it, the forward for Tech, was pretty incredible in that game. Just made some excellent individual plays. And, they're getting Lexi Watts back. She missed a game due to injury. She came off the bench against Tech. Having her in the starting lineup will be valuable. And they're playing some of the weaker teams in the conference coming up. So much like with KU Volleyball, a chance to get that record in conference looking a little bit more like what we kind of expected it to be. But I don't think this team has been daunted much by the losses. They're every bit as talented as they were before. With Watts being out, they had a little bit more upheaval in the continuity they had, where they started the same exact lineup for the first 11 matches. But I think they'll be able to bounce back and get back on the right track.
Henry, give us a preview of what you got coming up at KUSports.com and the Lawrence Journal World. Any fun articles that you're working on right now? Any feature pieces? Just give us what you're working on right now.
I mean, the big news of the week is that our KU men's basketball magazine comes out with Sunday's paper. It's a really highly desired item by our readers that I get a lot of calls about every year. And it's always so much fun to see that come together, and our designers do an excellent job. So you can get it with Sunday's paper, or you can order it online at shop.lawrence.com. And in the meantime, I'll be in Lubbock, so follow along for coverage from that game.
Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. Appreciate you coming in as you do every Wednesday, and a lot coming up here these next couple months. The busy season with KU football and basketball colliding, of course, other fall and winter sports as well. Henry, thanks again. We'll chat soon.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right. Hey, after this, we have our KU Mailbag segment. We hear from you. You still have time. Find us on Twitter at The Kansas Nation. You're listening to ESPN Kansas City and watching KansasNation.com.
This is Daniel Highshaw, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
5 o'clock hour here on Rock Chalk Sports. Sean Kellerman bringing you alongside Dan Courtwright. Dan, always love having Henry Greenstein come in to talk all things KU. Your biggest takeaway from what Henry brought to the table today? All right, that was Dan Courtwright joining us here on KansasNation.com. That brings us to our KU Mailbag segment. We get to hear from you, the fans. Thank you for everybody who sent in your You're out of breath.
I couldn't find the bathroom, so I just went.
There it is. You are out of breath. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Dan, good to see you again. Everything going okay?
Yeah, it's look, there's not a lot you can complain about this job. We have the coolest jobs in the world. There's only one bathroom in this place. So Elijah Schmidt running the show went first, then you went second, then I went third.
This is what we were talking about when you got to say, you got to say.
We had a long segment. Coming up.
What's the trash can thing you say?
Oh, that trash can just would not flush.
Yeah, the trash can. I was kind of hoping you would say that. Anyway, KU Mailbag segment here on Rock Chalk Sports. Who's going to kick it off today, you ask? It looks like it's going to be Aaron.
Yes.
Aaron.
You go.
Yeah, you can go.
No, I insist.
No, you go.
All right,
I'll go. You go.
Aaron says, would you rather have Laith Marjan go 25 of 25 this year, or see Emmanuel Henderson hit the 1,000-yard receiving mark? This is a great question.
It is.
So who's the last KU receiver to hit the 1,000-yard receiving mark? Would it have been potentially
Did Luke Graham get there?
I don't remember if he got over 1,000. I was thinking back to like Steven Sims.
Steven Sims absolutely would have gotten there at some point.
Luke Grimm probably got over.
I'm looking it up right now.
You would think. Who's the last great Kansas kicker that we had?
No, Luke did not. He did have a ton of touchdowns.
Was he like 6'7" around?
6'7", yeah, something like that. Yeah, 700. Didn't quite get to 700. So let's see. I mean, Steven Sims definitely did. He's got the second. I think he's got either the second or third.
Yeah,
most yards.
He went crazy.
I want to say it's Briscoe 1. I think Sims is 2, and I think Meyer is 3.
Sure. Which makes sense, but in terms of like the last one to do it, I mean, you would think it'd be Steven Sims.
It is. There you go. How about Luke Grimm being number 3?
Ah.
Grimm, of course, had an extra year. So there is that. But Luke Graham did pass Kerry Meyer. But yeah, it's Briscoe 1 and Steven Sims at 2.
Yeah.
Steven Sims had just shy of 2,600. Briscoe, by the way, over 3,200. But Sims also did not get to 1,000 yards. So you're telling me it had to be Briscoe.
It had to be Briscoe. So Briscoe might be the last one to hit the 1,000-yard mark. So I know Briscoe got over 1,000 yards this season, right?
14:07 in 2008, 13:37 in
Pretty
2009.
Pretty good.
How about that?
I think it'd be cool to see E-Man go for over 1,000, right? Because
Kerry Meyer also got there 1 year. 1,045.
25 and 25 would be great for Laith Marjan. And special teams has been such a huge miscue, I guess could be the potentially right word to say, of Kansas football just in the last, 15 to 20 years. Special teams hasn't exactly been up to par with the national standard, I would say.
Which is a lot of years.
Feeling that you have that just money, you coined that phrase, money margin, money leg, where, you get within 45 yards, you feel like, oh yeah, he's going to hit this no matter what. It's always good to have in your back pocket, but having a guy like Emmanuel Henderson go for over 1,000, I think is more attractive, right? Now, 25 times 3, that's 75 points on the year that Laith Marjan would potentially get. So that's 75 points. You're not talking touchdowns here for E-Man. So if he gets, 11 touchdowns, then that's 77. Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, if you include the extra point, then that's 77 points. So if he doesn't get at least 11 touchdowns, then you probably want to go with Laith just because the points are there.
I'm going with Laith because if your kicker's 25 of 25, I just feel like that's a more clutch stat, right? Like you said, maybe the 1,000 yards is more attractive, and clearly not a lot of guys have done it. I was shocked Sims hadn't done it, but both Briscoe and Meyer did it.
So that's the thing that brings me
up. But 25
to
25, that's a lot of clutch kicks in the Big 12.
That's a lot.
And never missing one. I'm gonna go with that. Yep.
Plus, I mean, you have that stat line. You're more than likely going to be going to the NFL, you would think. Right. I mean, you got to get the length. I'm going with E-Man. You go with Laith. I'm going to go with E-Man getting over 1,000. I think that would be huge. Hunter. This is a good question. He says, would you rather always have to be 10 minutes late to work and every event you attend, or be 1 hour early? Ooh. Sean, I know this. So this is actually, we don't have to decide. I'm one and Sean's the other. I'm always an hour early. Sean is always 10 minutes late to wherever he goes.
Being an hour early is a little bit tacky.
Tacky?
Tacky. It is.
Tacky is.
Plus, you just gotta like. I mean, if it's a place like our studio on Mastery, then it'd be awesome because then you get an hour. You're gonna shoot hoops and play Golden Tee and all that.
Cool, yeah.
But I mean, like meetings.
Yeah, you don't want to be an hour early.
An hour early.
An hour early to like work too. I mean, just like any work, you're just like
an hour early before anybody shows up.
Right, but if you're always 10 minutes late to everything, then you could potentially always be in hot water, right? Because it's always like, oh, hey, man, you're 10 minutes late to every single meeting we ever have.
That's true. But let's expand past the work and look at, like, I don't know, a dinner, meeting somebody for dinner.
Yeah.
That's a bad example because then you could have a couple beers and you could if you're early. So I don't know. That's tough.
Eat a whole meal beforehand.
See, you know me though. Like I'm efficient. Like if I'm forced to do nothing for that hour, that's not gonna. I'm efficient, man. I'm up, and if I got something to do, I'm gonna find a way to do
stuff
it.
in the hour. I'm gonna go the hour early just because getting 10 minutes late to places, like I'm just like thinking about like work meetings. Like if you're just constantly 10 minutes late, that's like grounds to fire you.
Right.
So like I don't know about that. Also, like what if it's like something like for our job we have to be very much on time. So it's like if we start the show 10 minutes late every single day, people are gonna be like, hey man,
or in the bathroom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 10 minutes late to the bathroom every time.
No, if you're in the bathroom, you're going to be 10 minutes late.
Every time.
No,
every time you have to go to the bathroom, you're always 10 minutes
for some
too
reason,
late.
For some reason,
that's horrible.
That would also be bad.
That would be horrible. Oh man, Adam. Oh gosh, he says if you could build your perfect KU basketball recruiting class, who would be in it? And he said the rules: you can only pick 1 5-star, 1 4-star, 1 3-star or less, and 1 transfer. Any ranking. All of these have to be within the Bill Self era. So recruiting class players from the Bill Self era, only 1 5-star, 1 4-star, 1 3 or less, and then 1 transfer.
I mean, I'm going to have to do some research, honestly.
Which, by the way, that is only 4 players, Adam. So
that's true.
Do you want 4 players?
We'll be a man down.
I mean, 5-star. Are you going with Wiggins?
But probably not, no.
Are you going with DP?
I haven't seen him play yet.
So, Josh Jackson?
I'm just. This is why this is a tough exercise when we haven't had a chance to.
Billy Preston?
I love the question, but it's tough exercise for us to do when we haven't had a ton of time to prep on it because there's been dozens of 4 stars and a ton of 3 stars and all that.
Yeah, I think like 3-star, you go with like Frank Mason right away, right? He was a 3-star.
You sure?
I believe.
Christian Brown was a 3-star.
Christian Brown was also a 3-star. Ochai was a 0-star. Oh, if you were going to go with the transfer, who do you want? Are you going to go with Hunter? You could go.
You can go with Jeff Withey.
Yeah, Jeff Withey, great pull.
Thank you.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of anybody else who transferred like in the early years. Xavier Henry? No, he was a freshman.
He was just a freshman.
Yeah, he was a 5-star though, wasn't he?
Believe so, yes.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, Frank, 3 or less. I believe Frank was a 3 or less guy.
Yes.
Man, do I want to go Wiggins?
It's hard to not do Frank there. He was a national player. I mean, that's obviously an easy pick.
Like in retrospect, like you're like, oh, well, if I know that he's going to have the career that he had,
right,
going to go with Frank.
I'm taking Embiid as my 5-star.
Should I go Devontae as the 4-star? I know Devontae was a 4-star.
I don't know if he was. I think
he
was
3?
3.
Oh, man.
He was committed to App State.
That's true.
Let me check. See, and that's the thing is there's different.
Yeah, it's like he could have been a 4-star on 24/7 and then a 3-star on Rivals or whatever. And then the ESPN has their own.
ESPN's got him as a 4-star.
Okay. So I'll go with Devontae as a 4-star.
So Frank and Devontae. Why don't you go with Josh Jackson?
No,
2016,
I'm not gonna
2017,
I'm
Kansas.
not going to go with Josh Jackson. Let's see, Connor Frank Camp.
Just go with the entire 2016-17 roster. You're off to a great start.
I mean, I'm just going to go with Wiggins, right? That's the safe bet. Because he's
you
number
know,
1 overall player.
You can go back to the beginning of the Bill Self era, too.
That's true.
You don't have to just do the past
10,
12 years.
So, Sharon is a 5-star.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Sharon as a 5-star. No, because then I already have Frank. And who do I want to round it out? So Jeff Withey, I think, is a good transfer.
The transfer's good.
Who was better, Jeff Withey or Hunter Dickinson?
If you think transfer, people forget about the guys before NIL.
In the transfer portal.
Because Malik Newman was a transfer, too.
Oh, that's true.
So
those are the very beginning of the transfer portal. Or no, it might not have been. Yeah, Malik Newman would have been a good one.
I mean, no, Malik Newman was here for 2 years. He had to sit out for transfer rules.
You're right. Yeah. So that's right. Your transfer portal opened up like 2019. That was 2018. So yeah, that makes sense. Who do I want? So
I'm going with Embiid.
Okay.
CB.
Sure.
As my 3-star. 4-star.
I mean, I'm going with Devontae.
That's fine. Again, go with Frank, Devontae, and Josh Jackson. You got your.
I'm not going to go with Josh Jackson.
16, 17
I said I'm not going to go with Josh Jackson. I'm going to go with Andrew Wiggins as my 5-star.
Okay.
And then transfer, I'm going to go with. I wanted to go with Hunter. I'm not going to go with Hunter. I'm going to go with Jeff Withey as the transfer. So that's 4. That's all he wanted, right? Do we pick another one?
Yeah, 4.
All right. I don't know. That's a good recruiting class. I think it's a great recruiting class.
Was Brandon Rush 4 or 5? I think he was 5. I'm
right.
going to go with Brandon Rush. He's going to be my 4-star.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then give me Remy Martin as my transfer.
Interesting.
All right. Brian says, what are your thoughts on someone standing up through most of a sporting event, and what would you do if the group in the row in front of you stood for a whole game?
You know what I would do? I would also stand for the whole game. We just talked about this in the open. Stand up during Kansas basketball games.
Well, this is different. This is like a baseball game. And that's what I want you to put yourself in the mindset of. It's a baseball game, a 9-inning baseball game.
Sure.
And the group ahead of you is standing up the whole game.
Right. So
how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm not going to say.
I know at field house you have to stand. At the booth, you have to stand.
I'm not a confrontational person. You know this. Like, if I order something.
Which is why you also wouldn't stand, because then you're worried about the people behind you. That's
exactly it. I just would not be able to watch the game. So, like if I go to a restaurant and I order a steak and they give me a salad, I'm not going to say anything because I'm too much of a pushover.
Would Piper say something?
Probably, because she has a backbone and I do not. So I think that's where it kind of gets. Yeah, she might say something. She wouldn't say something for me though if it was for like her food.
Yeah.
Like if she would be like, hey, do you want me to ask them? I'd be like, no, please no. I'm fine with the salad. Let me give me the salad or whatever. So yeah, I just wouldn't do anything because I'm a pushover and I'm spineless. But if you're at a KU football game or KU basketball game, stand. Just stand. Stand up. That's I don't know. What would you do?
I mean,
would you raise hell? Be like, sit
no,
down.
I would probably politely ask them to sit.
See, like I'll like.
It's like, do you mind sitting?
I'll like lean over and like find like the seam between people.
Yeah.
So I can watch.
I'll go and get a Frosty Malt or something just so I can get a better angle if I have to. But
yeah, go stand up.
I think I would go for the kindness.
A hot dog
first, but if they say no, then it's like, you're the weirdest person in the world right now. Everybody else is sitting. There's 40,000 people here.
Right.
I don't know. Interesting question, though. But it definitely depends on the game, depends on the facility.
Yeah, for sure.
Colin wants to know what's up with the Chiefs.
What is up with the Chiefs?
I don't know. The first thing you complained about after we lost yesterday was Xavier Worthy, of all things.
I was trying to find a different.
Well, I'm like, are you collecting your thoughts? I'm like, 31-28. We have 13 penalties. This went bad. And you start complaining about Xavier Worthy. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it probably wasn't the best angle to open. I eventually got there in my ramblings, but yeah, injuries. They don't have Rashee Rice. They can't establish a run game. Harrison Butker's the worst kicker in the NFL. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going wrong with the Chiefs right now. With that being said, the Jaguars are probably a better team than we anticipated. Because right now, they only have one loss.
Well, yeah, they're 4-1.
They're 4-1. So it's like that loss, when you look at it and you take the names of the teams away, you go, oh, well, the Chiefs lost to a 4-1 team at the very end of the game. It's not the end of the world. But you look at the Jaguars and you look at the name bias and you go, well, okay. All right, well, you can't lose to the Jaguars. It's like, well, the Jaguars might be actually good, right? Travis Hunter might be okay. Trevor Lawrence might be a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Their defense is good. They didn't even have Trayvon Walker out there.
That's the type of thing that, like, after a few beers, you're like, you can't lose to the Jaguars. The season's over. And then the next day, you're like, well, the Jaguars are pretty good.
Yeah, they're not bad. Yeah. No, they're not bad. I know. That's what I'm saying. So what's up with them?
In 2021, they started 2-3 also.
Yeah,
but what's up with them is they've had to face good teams.
And it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Right. That's the problem. It really won't. I mean, usually you can look at a schedule, and the Chiefs do have 3 straight home games starting now. But usually you can look at a schedule and you can say, okay, here's that pocket of 4 games that we need to go 4-0 or we need to go 3-1, and you don't really have that. I mean, you have some games at home, like you get the Titans at one point, the Colts you should beat because you're at home. You obviously should win your home games against your division teams, even though they're good. So there's wins to be had, but yeah, it's get Rice back and hopefully stay healthy, and we'll see.
True. But Aaron, he wants to know who's on your Mount Rushmore of 1-year Kansas football players. This is a fantastic question. I've created a list of guys who I felt like were 1-year guys, and it turns out that they were absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm going in.
I had like Miles Kendrick on here. He was here for a long time.
Yeah, he was here for almost 5 years. I mean, his entire career, Miles Kendrick.
But there's a lot of guys who
Khalil Herbert was here for almost 4 years.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert, but it's like you only remember the one Khalil. I mean, virtually only remember the one Khalil Herbert game, right? So I have a list of 4 guys who I think I like.
One of them, yes, Austin Booker is
Austin
the
Booker
guy.
is got to be up there. Right? Now, I believe Cornell Wheeler was only a 1-year guy. Am I correct about this? Or no?
I want to say no, but I'll double check.
Man, if that's true, then I don't have 4.
Yeah, Cornell Wheeler was here. He didn't play essentially didn't play his first couple years, but yes, he did play as a junior.
So he transferred in like 22. Okay.
No,
Dang
he
it.
was here his entire career.
All right. Well, Austin
Just didn't
Booker and Lonnie Phelps. Bang.
There you go.
I'm there. Lonnie Phelps was here for 1 year, had a tremendous year. Then I'm going to go with, I will do this now, I will say Emmanuel Henderson.
Okay.
I don't think that's crazy.
How about Laith Marjan? Is that crazy?
And then
we need a better group of guys.
So here's a name that you probably haven't heard in a while. Nigel King. He played 4 years at Maryland, transferred over from Maryland to Kansas as a grad transfer, and had, I believe, the #1 play on SportsCenter. It was a 78-yard touchdown against TCU down the sideline. One-handed catch, was incredible, and had a decent year too. So give me Nigel King on
Nigel King highlight. I got to look that up.
Nigel King, Kansas, TCU, 70-something yard.
Man, that is
a
great poll because I flat out did not remember that.
Yeah, I know. Like there was a lot. I wrote down a lot. Like Laquiviante Gonzalez. Pretty sure
he would maybe be on there. He was fun. Quiv Gonzalez.
He was fun. Was he here for a year?
He was a 1 year guy.
Okay, he was a 1 year guy. Yeah. Andrew Parchment felt like a one, but also I looked into it. Andrew Parchment had 2 great years for Kansas. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You got.
I feel solid. I mean, Booker and Phelps got to be on there.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're missing somebody. Find us on Twitter. And who are we missing?
I'll throw him in there right now.
Well, yeah, that's great. But I feel like you can't have guys who haven't even played a year, right?
He still looks good.
Well, yeah, but then
compared to the other
you want to put him on Laith Marjan?
No. Here's Sean's list: Dane Christ, Jake Heaps.
You want to put other guys from this year's team? You certainly can do that.
Sure.
You can put Marjan, and you can put
Marjan.
You can put Finn Lappin, and you can put, let's see, who
Diamond
else is
Grice.
there? Le'Shawn Williams. Why isn't he on here? Right? I think Diamond Grice. No, pass. Quiv Gonzalez, though. I mean, who are we missing? Who are we missing? Find us on Twitter at the Kansas Nation. It is trickier than you'd think.
It's a fun question, though.
Yeah.
Cody wants to know what's the best New York Times mini game, and which ones do you dislike?
This is all you. I have not dabbled.
So obviously the mini crossword is great. That feels too easy. I'm gonna go with Connections. I think I like Connections better. I don't like Spelling Bee. It's a little weird. I know a lot of people who like the Spelling Bee one. I'm not crazy about it. We're gonna move on from that one. I love the New York Times mini games. I play them every day. Calvin wants to know, is next week's KSU game the biggest game of Lance Leipold's career? So Oak State 22 get bowl eligible was a big game. TCU game day was a huge game, but we lost.
We've been to 2 bowl games.
In terms of bigness, is bigness a word?
No.
Largeness?
Size.
Size. There we go. Size. In terms of size.
We got the California kid saying metatext and mercurial, and we're struggling with bigness.
Yeah, couldn't think of the word size. In terms of size, like, just I don't know, like the TCU game is probably the biggest, right? It's college game day.
Well, you got both bowl games, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Kickoff was what was Big Noon Kickoff here for?
It was also that year, wasn't it?
I think so.
Also 2023.
Sounds right.
I think it was Oklahoma, which was also a massive game. Oklahoma was ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think probably because it hasn't happened yet. Yes, I think. I don't know. It means a lot to people, and they've beaten us a lot of years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
because it hasn't happened yet, and because it's now, yes. Now I think 2 years down the road, you look back and you would say, of all the games that have completed, you point to the Texas game, the Oklahoma game, and the Oklahoma State bowl eligible, and the 2 bowl games, and college game day, and all that.
I think you can look at like even K-State last year. Could have been potentially the biggest one.
Right, and the year prior also.
And year prior, and they just weren't able to get it done. That's a good question. Chris, you said, seemed like we blitzed more versus UCF than we did against Cincy, likely because neither of UCF's quarterbacks were anywhere near Sorsby's stratosphere. Given that Tech also has a top-notch QB in Morton, Does DK risk blitzing on occasion, or should we anticipate trying to get pressure with 3-4-man rushes like we did unsuccessfully against Cincinnati? I do kind of have an answer for this. I don't think, because when you're playing Cincinnati, there was a lot of times where we saw a spy, right? We saw the linebackers not be as aggressive because they understood that, hey, at any given moment, we have to make those open field tackles because Sorsby can get out of the pocket whenever he wants to. Didn't really necessarily feel that against UCF, so I think there was a little bit more, as you said, with Henry, a little bit of looseness with that linebacker crew. Now, granted, John, and as much as I hate to say this, I think John had a bad game against UCF. Bengali Kamara coming back was absolutely huge, and I think he just kind of played with a fire underneath him, and then you saw him getting a lot of that pressure up front. Do we blitz more against Tech or as much, I guess, against Tech as we did against UCF? Maybe, but also you want more guys in coverage, I think. So it'll be close. I think we probably blitz less against Tech than we did against UCF.
Maybe, yeah. At the same time, it's kind of a move that you do when you don't have much to lose, right?
That's
true.
true.
And I'm not saying that Kansas doesn't have a chance in this, but hey, you're going against the team that's the unanimous #1 team in the conference, and you're not going to win if you don't get pressure on their quarterback.
Sure.
You're not. So if you can't get there with 4, maybe you will. But good question there from Chris.
Cole.
Cole.
This is a great one. He said, who's the best looking and worst looking person at Kansas Nation? Ready? Let's go best looking. 3, 2, 1. Me.
Elijah.
Oh.
Wow.
Sorry, Elijah.
Wow. I thought you were for sure going to say Elijah.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. You.
Oh, my God. That's heartbreaking.
Elijah, you're number 2.
That being said,
you're a better looking guy than
that being said, I am proud of you for stepping out of your comfort zone because you are incredibly humble.
I'm very humble. I'm actually the most humble guy that I've ever met. I'm glad you brought this up because I want to talk about how humble I am. I am so humble, more humble than anybody I have ever met in my life. There's nobody who's more humble than me.
There you go.
And I really pat myself on the back for how humble I am.
It's perfect. I'm proud of you for stepping outside.
I appreciate that.
And really just deciding to go with you there for best looking person.
Yeah. KU Najee. You do
yeah.
this,
How many Jayhawks will average more than 10 points per game this season? KU Najee.
DP.
Flory.
Jaden Dawson.
I'm going Melvin Council. I think 4. I think 4 solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Trey White.
I think Trey White's more of a 7, 8, 9 guy.
Okay.
Points per game.
I actually agree with you. You know what? Surprising one, and maybe not surprising if you know me, but El Marco. I think El Marco is going to be a 10-plus guy. I think he's going to work his way into the rotation.
Okay, so that would be 5 in double figures. That's a lot of points.
No.
That's,
well, yeah, sure.
That is 5.
So why not? Yeah.
That's 5. Okay.
So that's at least 50 points a game.
Wow, I thought you were high on Cole Rosario.
50 points a game? No, Cole Rosario's not getting 10 points a game.
If everybody averages exactly 10, yes, it would be 50 points a game.
Right. He also said, this is actually a great one. It's part trivia, too.
Oh, I love this.
Will Darren Peterson score more than 35 points in a game? And can you name the 5 Kansas players in the Bill Self era to score more than 35 points in a game?
Can I try? Did you look it up?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So I'm going to first of all say yes, he will score 35.
Okay. All right. Well, 2 I know immediately off the top are Andrew Wiggins,
41
and
against
Elijah Johnson.
EJ, yeah.
Yeah. Wiggins had 41 against West Virginia. EJ had 39 against Iowa State.
Mm-hmm. I thought it went over 40 with that dunk. Or am I wrong about that?
I think he had
was it 39? Okay,
yeah,
all right, fair enough. You probably know better than me.
So Wiggins and Elijah, I need more than 35 a game. I got to go Sharon. Did he get there?
I'm certain he did.
So many points. Who are some other 40 guys?
Okay.
Oh man, I do love KU basketball trivia.
Let me look up his game log.
Yeah.
All game logs for Sharon Collins, and then I'm gonna go points.
Marcus and Markeith got close.
Sharon Collins did not ever get over 35.
Okay.
He got 33 against Cornell.
See, and I think Marcus and Markeith, I think Marcus
I have a
definitely
weird
got
one.
in the 30s.
Did Diedrich Lawson?
See, Diedrich put in. He actually crossed my mind. He scored a lot of points on that team. I don't
did.
think he got. I don't think he got to 35.
I'm looking this up.
Yeah,
We probably should have looked this up before.
that's.
I should have given this to you here. Points. He had 35 when he was at Memphis. 31 against TCU
So
when
do
he
you?
was at
So do
Kansas.
you know the 5 guys? Because if
I do not.
this will go on for a while. Okay.
No, I don't.
I'm just gonna go name a couple guys, and you can tell me. I'll go Frank. I don't know if he did it or not, but I'll go Frank. I'll go Thomas Robinson, and I'll go. See, some Bill Self's best teams were so deep and so balanced. But if I have to go one more guy, I'll say. I think Xavier
Frank
Henry.
never got it. Frank got 32.
Okay, so who did I say? I said Frank. Okay, so I said T-Rob.
T-Rob, certainly, right?
I don't know. That's so many points.
It's a lot of points.
It is.
There's a lot of
I
guys
got 2
who
immediately, and I've been laboring
You go right
since.
away. You go, yeah. So that was the first 2 that came to my
Yeah.
mind. It's like right away, you knew.
You remember those guys?
T-Rob only had 30. That was his game high.
Yeah.
Man, this could go on for a while.
Yeah, we'll
do-
look this
yeah.
up during the break. But you know who might have gotten there? Julian Wright. I feel like he had a couple games where he just exploded.
I like that. Luke said we'll end on this one. This is ridiculous.
Oh my
question.
God, Julian Wright with 33 at Mizzou. He didn't
So
get there.
close. Luke says, would you rather never eat any kind of cheese again or never eat any form of chicken again?
I would rather have cheese than chicken, which is a shout out to the
Wow.
California kid.
Yeah.
Because he loves cheese, hates chicken.
That's right. Well, he likes chickens, like alive.
What about you?
It's so tough. I mean, I'm more of a beef guy than a chicken guy. Cheese, like you're talking like cream cheese, cottage cheese,
Yeah.
cheese, nacho cheese,
Velveeta,
Munster,
cheese product,
government cheese.
Gouda.
You're talking the
Anything from
cold
Jimmy
hard
John's.
cheddar, baby, that cash money.
I'm
gonna
going
go
with
with-
I'm going with never eat chicken again.
I'm with you. Never eating chicken
I think
again.
I gotta keep my cheese. That's for
Yep.
sure. Hey, after this, we're gonna hear from KU offensive coordinator Jim Zebrowski here on Rock Chalk Sports. Thanks for listening on ESPN Kansas City and watching KansasNation.com.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Well, unfortunately, we had to turn to the World Wide Web to close out that trivia.
We did.
I'm surprised the first 2 guys who came to both of our minds were the guys who were furthest away from the program. Right?
I know, that's
3
very true.
recent guys got to 35. We said Devontae,
Yeah.
and you confirmed that he's one of the 3.
Yes, Devontae had 35 against Toledo. It was a 96-58 win, November 28th, 2017. Jalen Wilson had 38 points in an overtime loss to Kansas State. And
I remember that one.
I cannot believe we didn't get to this. Ochai Abaji scored 37 against Kansas State as well.
God, K-State taking the brunt of it. 5 35-plus point scorers in a game under Bill Self. Of course, we got Andrew Wiggins and Elijah Johnson last segment. Appreciate everybody chiming in on our KU mailbag segment. Let's hear from KU offensive coordinator Jim Zebrowski, who spoke to the media yesterday.
Just looking back on the last game, how would you assess the way the offense did overall?
I could start out a little slow. Too many little penalties, like a pre-snap penalty we haven't had for a while. And then I thought I played really well in the middle, second, third, and early part of the fourth. And then kind of couldn't get the first down at the end, and we got stuck inside the 10. So it didn't end great, but I thought the middle was really good. I think we went touchdown, field goal, touchdown, something like that. Had a good stretch there. But it started out a little slow, put some penalties sort of, some pre-snap, which we haven't had for a while. So we got to fix that.
Jim, how much do you work on situational stuff like that backed up against your?
A lot during camp. Lance is big into coming out or backed up. So kind of prepared for it. So we have a script for it and prepared for it. And I just had never been, I don't know if I've been taught like inside the one twice, like back to back. You know, it's kind of crazy. So I thought I did a good job getting enough yards, but like I said, we were just talking. Those 2 plays we had, the third down play, were so close to both of them, almost gashing. And then, the situation, should you throw it, not throw it? I think we threw it once the first time. Second time, they had 3 timeouts. We're like, hey, if we can get those 3 timeouts to burn, we came really close. Jen had really close to getting that first down, which we would have just helped the defense because they're playing so good that second half. But we work on a lot.
Yeah.
We work on a lot.
How do you balance the idea of let's get the first versus let's take care of it?
Great question. A lot of this communication. Lance is really good with this. So like Lance, I'll talk. I'm like, Lance, what do you? If I have a thought, I'm like, hey, it's not. He doesn't like surprises, which they shouldn't. So like Lance, I have to think about throwing here. You good? You might say no. Let's run it. Okay. So it's really good. And it's not like I'm not like, well, what the no? I'm like, that's whatever you want. I'm in, all in. So that's the communication is really good. And I think he does a great job feeling like how the game's going, how the defense is playing, moments like that. So in that case, we're like, hey, let's try to get those 3 timeouts burned. I'm like, okay. I was more disappointed we were so close. It was really close to watching tape, like, ooh. But, we got him burn 3 timeouts.
How are you deciding from one game to the next, or from one series to the next, whether you're going to rotate those left guard and right tackle spots? Because it's changed a bit recently.
Daryl kind of has a feel for it. So he kind of goes, he has kind of a preset thought in his head, try to get him in at a certain time. And after that, it's kind of a feel thing, realistically for Daryl. And we trust him 100%. So how he feels, and we agree. And then we'll talk afterwards about it. Maybe I should have done this, could have done more of this, or whatever. But he's really good. So let Daryl roll.
Just the challenges the Texas Tech defense playing pose. What does it kind of look like here?
A very good challenge. They're really good. I think what's good, we played some good teams, obviously, up to this point. Probably the best D-line we played probably up to this point with Missouri. So it's kind of a good indicator, like at least you play somebody who's really ultra-talented up front and has some guys who are potential next-level type guys up there. And they're differently built because their DNs maybe a little bit bigger. These guys are exceptionally fast off the edge. Their D tackles are terrific. And the linebacking core is outstanding. So the front, what do you call it? The front 6, 7, 8 are terrific. But they're really fast off the edge. So you really got to freaking control. You try to do your best to control those guys, not let them kind of wreck the whole game. That's kind of the difference. But I think it's good the speed of Missouri, and like in Cincinnati, you see them. They played well last week against. They're good. And we've had different challenges just in terms of front structure, a little bit like that. So at least they had a little idea of like, hey, this is the speed and the force that's coming at you.
What have you seen from Zeke in practice that's made you feel comfortable throwing him in game settings?
Both of them, really. I've seen them since fall, spring, really. Like they're both athletic kids, physical runners. Cole's a little more this way. Zeke's got a little more wiggle to him. But there's a lot of confidence level. Really, the thing is, I'm not worried. It's like almost when you do the Wildcat stuff. Are you comfortable with someone else taking a snap at a certain time of the game? That's always kind of here on this. So they get so many reps during practice that I love them, that I don't feel bad. I feel great about it. So then once Daniel got nicked up a little bit, we're like, hey, how can we keep getting our best people on the field? We think we can get us some yards and have a little. We kind of we did with Jason a little different because Jason was at that point I was playing some receiver and all of a sudden Jalen got hurt again. That got done, but a little bit of that ballpark, like, hey, you don't want this kid to stand on the sideline the whole time. If we give him just a few, like every little package, so we kind of hopefully try to carry some plays for both those guys. And then game is kind of sometimes how the game goes dictates if you're going to use them or not, but they're ready for them.
How do you do that? Are you trying to also maybe preserve some hits to Jalen?
A little bit. That's always an added bonus of that. And then sometimes quarterback run game is difficult to defense is it's a little another look for him. Sometimes difficult to defend because you get an extra blocker out there too. Obviously the way we do some things, but it was good to get those. It is good to kind of like not let him. If you can save a couple hits on him, that's terrific, and get a chance to really be pretty explosive with those two kids.
How has the rest of the tight end group responded to Deshaun being out for the season?
Really, I thought they did a really good job bouncing back. I think they kind of said, here we go. We're going to get more reps because obviously you saw Bowden and Carson get more reps. Langley got a few in that 3 tight end type package stuff. But it really added more to Bowden and Carson. And I thought they performed really well. And I think there's some stuff we kind of challenged them in the run game. The physicality part, so I was so excited. The best part of the whole day, we scored on, I think it was the second touchdown we scored. Carson was so fired up because he had a big block inside, like 2-yard line. He was like, Carson's not the most emotional. Like, he's like, I'm like, all right. I was so happy for him because he's such a great kid. And he's going to be pretty darn good. But seeing him be able to do that and get excited about that, I think we challenged him. Luke did a great job getting those guys ready to go. And like I said, because of how we practice, those kids get a lot of reps.
Is there any sort of like
kind of let him go through his recovery, especially around just kind of give him a chance to. I felt it feels so bad for it. You just feel so bad for anybody, let alone guys that are old, a little older, and those things happen. So just gotta let him kind of catch his breath. He's always when he's around, he's great with those guys. So he's kind of like that leader type, in the program. So it's good to when he pops his head around for sure.
How much is it meant to have Cam Pickett back?
It was good. It was good to see it. It was good to be able to use him. He felt like he was got to him healthy. Probably the healthiest he's been since game one. So it's good to get him back out there and do some things with him like we do with Emmanuel. So it's good to be able to take some of the maybe plays off of him too and give different looks. The defense just can't always zone in on, hey, Emmanuel's there, or now you put Cam back there and you can kind of move around. So it's really fun to see. And he did some really good things when he had the ball in his hand, so it's great. And a great catch on the vertical too. I was really excited about that. It looked very explosive.
Because of his injuries, do you have, you don't have to share any of it, do you have a lot of stuff that hasn't been unleashed with Pickett in mind?
No, I'd say no. I think because of the depth in that room and the people you can move around, is kind of we just got to keep putting different people in those spots. Might have been some plays where like, God, this is kind of for Cam, but then it's a really good play. We're going to let someone else, be it Doug, be it Levi, or Keenan. The good thing is with the amount of packages we can throw out there, we can move we can move guys with Canny, and now we move those guys all over the place.
Jim, when you got back and graded the film, what did you think about the offensive line overall?
I thought it was solid. I'm trying to think. Bryce Foster, I thought played. They all played well. Bryce had I think Darryl believed like Bryce had his best game, so it's good to see him because he's such a good player. So I think that was probably the highlight, but the key part of that deal was him just playing really well and being physical and displacing some people. I thought he showed some. I mean, heck, we almost scored on a quarterback sneak, which is great. Hadn't been that for a while from like a 13. But I thought they did a good job in those moments, especially in that stretch of second to third quarter, of really getting some displacement. And saw some pretty good runs. So I think they graded all out pretty well.
Wishan with 3 touchdowns. I guess maybe kind of obvious what makes him such a good choice around the goal line.
What does make him a good choice? He's built. It's nice to have those guys like him. They're all kind of him. Devin last year, Daniel, all kind of built the same kind of physical kids that are strong and can. But because you're not going to block everybody down there, and you're going to have to run into somebody. And being able to be physical with those guys are all those guys that can take on somebody and get moving forward. So it's great to have that because you're going to have somebody in the hole.
When you look at the offensive line, just where do you think it's taken the biggest step forward over the last 2-3 weeks?
I feel like we're getting more. Like Darryl said, I feel like we're getting a little more vertical in the run game, a little more push. I think we're kind of figuring out too. Sometimes throughout the season, kind of figure out what we're best at, and kind of say, okay, we're better at this. Every year is different. Sometimes you think you know, and then you don't know, or something changes throughout the game for a multitude of reasons. I think we're getting comfortable with what they are excelling at. So I think that's the key is those guys. I just feel like they're gelling together, which is obviously they're staying healthy, which is good. And I think we're getting more vertical push. I mean, I think they've done a really good job, which will be critical this week, obviously, in pass protection. If people always kind of shy that way, I'm like, I joke with Jalen. I'm like, we took I think 2 sacks last 2 games. They're both on nakeds. Like plays you're not supposed to get sacked. I think one of Jalen ran out, but it was like a yard. I think the one in the first quarter was a naked that he tried to pull up on and tried to make a run. So I think what kind of goes under underlying currents, those guys did a really good job in pass protection. We obviously try to get the ball out fast, but I think they've done a really good job, all season, but let alone lately, they've done a really good job.
Anything else, Coach Zebrowski?
That's KU offensive coordinator Jim Zebrowski. Love hearing from Coach Z every week. KU and Texas Tech Saturday at 6:30, 5 o'clock. Crimson and Blue So coverage starts on Sports Radio 810 WHB. After this, KU volleyball chatter. Ray Bouchard. Some great news regarding the KU legendary coach who was here for 27 years, plus MLB postseason update. Thanks for watching KansasNation.com and listening to ESPN Kansas City.
This is Daniel Highshaw, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright. Hey, some big news regarding Ray Bouchard, the legendary KU volleyball coach, Dan, who was here for 27 years.
That's right. Yeah, he's been selected for induction to the AVCA Hall of Fame, the American Volleyball Coaches Association, the class of 2025, honoring his incredible career over the course of his entire career. Really, it started off at the JUCO levels and then made his way all the way up to the University of Kansas, spent 27 years at KU. During his tenure at KU, They went to 13 NCAA tournaments, including 3 Sweet 16s, a Final Four in 2015. He also was 2016 Big 12 champions, the first conference title in Kansas history. Also was 5-time Big 12 Coach of the Year, 2012, 2013, 15, 16, and 2024. So well-deserved. A guy who has been deeply ingrained in Kansas volleyball for a long, long time, almost 30 years, 27 years. This is the first year without Coach Ray Bouchard. Matt Ulmer had big shoes to fill, and he's continuing to grow this KU volleyball program as well, but well-deserved for Coach Ray Bouchard.
Yeah, first-year head coach Matt Ulmer, of course, taking the reins from Coach B. Hawks ranked number 15 in the country. Henry Greenstein brought up a great point earlier, saying if they stay in that top 16, they're in position to host. So that's exciting. They are about to take on Texas Tech here in just a matter of minutes at Horse Family Volleyball Arena, and then they get Iowa State to the Jayhawks on Friday. An opportunity against 2 unranked teams to improve to 13-7, but still, despite those 7 losses, ranked very high. Excited to see that. You can watch tonight's game and Friday's game, both at 6 p.m. on ESPN. Plus, MLB postseason underway. I might get my wish with nothing but Game 5s.
Because you're such a big Yankees fan.
The
That
Tigers-
you're actively rooting for the Yankees.
The Tigers came
Your
back and
boys.
beat the Mariners, which means there will be a Game 5 on Friday. That game will be at 3 p.m. or something like that if the Yankees win tonight against the Jays. Right now, the Cubs are leading the Brewers, bottom of the 5th. It's 4-2. And if the Cubs win that means that there will be a Game 4 tomorrow, as the Brewers took the first 2 in the best-of-5 series. And then, of course, Yankees hosting Jays tonight. But a lot of exciting coverage on Rock Chalk Sports, a lot of exciting coverage across shows on KansasNation.com.
Yes, stay tuned to KansasNation.com for everything Kansas-related, Haney and the Hawks, Legends of Kansas with BMAC and Chris Harris. More shows to come, so be sure to stay tuned for all of that great coverage here on KansasNation.com.
For Elijah Schmidt running the operations and Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman saying we'll catch you tomorrow from 4 to 6. Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com.